So I'm just going to go ahead and start off by going through the steps of how you'll do this. So first things first is I'm going to show you how you would go ahead and set up an assignment where you want to use this tool. So in order to do that, you're going to go to the assessments link on your nav bar and choose assignments. And you'll just go ahead and set up a new submission folder. And I'm just going to call this Turnitin Workshop for the name. You would name this whatever your assignment is going to be named. You would go ahead and make your settings in here as you typically do for adding an assignment. For this particular thing, I'm going to have individual submission folder, no particular category. I'll go ahead and create a grade item for this. What I'm doing right now is just your typical setup. So the same way that you always set up assignments in D2L. So okay. I'm going to give that a maximum of 10 points. Again, I have to go over here and put in a maximum of 10 points. Then I could go ahead and set up my due dates and all of that for this assignment just like I normally would. But the difference is you're actually going to go in and turn on the Turnitin feature. So if I go ahead and click on Turnitin, that's going to bring me into the Turnitin tab. Now Turnitin is the plagiarism checker that we use. So it can identify any type of plagiarism that might have gone on. It'll give you a percentage and you can see what sources that has similarity to. But it has this additional piece in it called the Feedback Studio, which is what I'm really trying to show you today with the ability to go in and mark up the paper. So we'll talk about both sides of it. When I go into that screen, I'll show you what it looks like when it detects plagiarism or thinks that it detects plagiarism. But to set it up, to turn it on so that it can be used, and the thing to remember is you always need to turn this on before you assign it. So you can't turn it on and have it work after the fact that someone has already turned in the papers. So when you create your assignment folders that students are going to submit to, you're going to want to go ahead and turn this on right then. So within the Turnitin tab, you're going to go down and you're going to start looking at the options. So you want to check where it says enable GradeMark for this folder. That sets it up so that you can do the online grading. Automatically sync grades as a draft into Brightspace. So that automatically will move the grade into the assignment area of D2L. You still have to publish it to the grade book, but it does move it into the assignment area for you by clicking automatically sync. And then you do have to click enable originality check for this folder. That's what does your plagiarism checking. You also have to check allow learners to see the Turnitin similarity scores. If you don't have this selected, they're unable to see your markings and comments on their paper. So you have to make sure that that's checked. And then by default, go ahead and leave that as automatic originality. And then you're going to go ahead and click save and close. So that is all you need to do to set it up. When I go down here, you're going to see that I have this little icon with the little binoculars. That's going to signify that Turnitin plagiarism checker has been turned on for that assignment. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to move out of here because I'm going to show you kind of what this looks like when a student has submitted. So now we've set it up and I'm going to go into a different assignment where I have a submission so I can show you how the grading works. So I have this assignment 7 and what I do is I'm going to go up here where it says view submissions.
Okay.
And I see that Diane has submitted something and the similarity check has happened. Now I have graded this one a couple of times, so we're just going to pretend that it's a fresh one and I'll show you how that would be. But when you come in here, you're going to see automatically that it has done the similarity check. And the 8x10 that you see right now would not be there because you would not have graded the paper yet.
Mm-hmm.
And what you would do is you would go ahead and just click on where it says 8%, and that's going to take you into this Feedback Studio through Turnitin. You are going to see a copy of the paper in this window. When you're very first brought in, you're looking at the similarity. So where you see the red highlights, the system has flagged this for potential plagiarism. So in here you have what's called layers. So to the right, you'll see this toolbar. And if I click where it says layers, you see that I have a layer for grading and a layer for similarity. Right now, we're totally looking at the similarity and the plagiarism features. So it has gone in and marked this for plagiarism. So what I would be able to do, I'm going to turn the grading layer off. Down here in the second half of the toolbar where you see the red, this is your plagiarism checking item. So if I click on the match overview, it's an 8%. So that's not very high rate or very high level of plagiarism, but it'll show me what the potential plagiarism is. And I can click on that and it will tell me what exactly that is. Now this obviously is not plagiarism, but it detected it and it thought that it might be. So some of this, you're gonna still wanna be able to go in and check. And by looking at the screen, you're able to go in and see what it says that that might be.
Okay.
Okay, right below that, you would have a list of all sources where this plagiarism may have came from. So you can click and see what sources that the match may have came from. You can set up filters. So if you wanted to exclude quotes or you wanted to exclude the bibliography, you could set those filters up so that it wouldn't be automatically finding those things. And then this one, again, would be able to go out and mark out excluded. So you could restore any excluded sources to bring them back in if you had excluded something from the list. So those are your different plagiarism checking tools. So you can go in and learn more about this percentage and what has been found in the paper. And the way it works is the Turnitin, the company's database, matches to all different libraries and databases on the internet to find potential plagiarism. Okay.
Okay.
The next part of this is the grading. So as I said up at the top, you have these two layers. You have similarity and grading. I'm going to go ahead and click to turn the similarity off for now, and I'm going to turn the grading on. So again, this is a paper that I've actually already came in here and graded, but I'm going to show you how that works right now. So if I'm in the paper, to the left, I have a window with thumbnails. So if this were more than one page, I could go by thumbnail to go to the different pages. So that's all that's on the left, is you can just click by thumbnail. To the right, you have a toolbar, and we'll discuss those tools. The first one is called Quick Marks. So Quick Marks is going to be a markup that you might commonly use when you're looking at a paper. So if you have something and you think they haven't explained it well enough, you could actually go in there and highlight that sentence. And then over here, you could grab explain further and drag that into the document. And when you use these quick marks, when you click on them, they're already going to have a generic description telling the student, you know, you need to explain more, here's what you need to do. But then you can also add a comment in your own words. So down here, you could type something for this class, you need to further develop or explain the idea of whatever that might be. So when the student comes in, they're going to be able to click and they will see the generic information, but then they would also see the personal comment that you had made based on this context. You can also add a quick mark just by clicking in the document. So if you had highlighted this sentence, for example, and then you click up here on quick marks, you could add the quick mark right from here as well. You don't have to go over to that particular window. You can just click on it and add it here. So you could say add transition. Up at the top, you can change the highlighting color. So if you needed to change it for some reason, you could change that highlighting color. So maybe you were going to code things as errors, maybe we're going to be pink, good points were going to be green. However you might want to do that, you can change the highlight color. Additionally, you can go in and create your own comments. So if you would highlight this particular sentence and you go up here to the floating toolbar and click on comment, this is going to just give you a window where you can put in your own comments. Sometimes you might find that you're using the same comment over and over and over again on each student's paper. So you can actually go in and change your own comments into a quick mark. So if I wanted to, I could click here and do convert to quick mark, and I could put in here the name of whatever that is so that I can easily find it, and then I can save it. And now if I go back over here, I'll find my quick mark, so I can continually keep bringing that back into the documents that I'm grading. So you can create your own quick marks out of comments that you commonly make to your students. And then finally, you can actually add inline text. So when I've highlighted something, that becomes a strike through. So I can strike through, but when I just click in the document and click on the T, I can actually add a text box. And then I can move that inline text anywhere I may want to move it. Back over in the toolbar, the next button you have is feedback summary. So this is a place where you can put a feedback summary for the entire paper. The voice comment does not appear to be working unless you have a full account with Turnitin outside of D2L, which we don't provide. So you are limited to the text boxes here, but you could type in feedback for the entire paper here. Right below that, you have a rubric tool. So you can actually go in and create a rubric and attach it to the assignment, and then you can fill out the rubric right as you are grading the assignment. So I have a rubric attached to this particular one. I could go ahead and change my levels here, and then I could apply that to the grade, which I don't have this set up quite right, so it's not scoring the points. I can also go up and just type in a number in the score here. So if you do the rubric correctly, it'll automatically put your 5 up there, or you can go in and type it by hand. If you wanted to create or add a new rubric, you would just click on the little gear icon in the top right corner, and then you would click on the drop down arrow, and you could do create new grading rubric or create new grading form. So if I were to do a new rubric, I can go in and I can adjust my criteria, and I can change my scale. Over here where I have scoring, I can change the type of scoring that I use. And then when you want to attach to assignment, you just turn it on, and I don't have this particularly done. You have to save it first. And then you would have to click here to attach it. So that would be how you can go in and actually create a rubric. So if I were to do file rubric, and I could say 3, 2, 1, and then under criteria, I could do grammar, and then underneath that, I could type in all of the information. And then I could type in mechanics, supporting details, just say professional. So I could do all of that. I can click save. I can go ahead and say, yes, I want to attach it to the assignment. And then I would close my rubric. And then over here, again, now I have my new rubric in there. And I could go ahead and grade with that rubric. If I had multiple papers in here from multiple students, I could just keep clicking my next arrow and that would take me on to the next student's paper, okay? So it automatically saves and takes me to the next student's paper. Again, if your rubric is set up and working, it will automatically put the score up here, or you can just click in the box and type the score in by hand. This is the score that's going to transfer into D2L.
Okay.
At the bottom of the page, you have the download arrow. This allows you to download a current view of the document. So you can download the current view that would have the markup in it. So it will let you download a copy of your marked up document so that you would have that for future reference. I'll go ahead and save that. So now you're able to see this is what the document that you downloaded would look like. You're not going to be able to click and open those particular remarks like you do in the system, but if you scroll on down, it gives you the score and then it gives you a breakdown of what each of those comments were. Back to the Feedback Studio. Down here at the bottom is your zoom so that you can zoom in and zoom out. There's a high resolution and a low resolution if for some reason you needed to change that. And then there's also a text only report. The text only report just gives you the report about the paper for the plagiarism. And you can pop back into Feedback Studio. So that would be everything that you would be able to go in and do when grading a paper. When you're done grading a paper, you go back into D2L. So I just click on my Western Online tab here. And I made changes to this grade. So where you see the 8 out of 10, you're going to notice there's a little arrow here to refresh that score. So I'm going to click refresh, and now my new score, my 5 out of 10, shows up. So right now, this grade is in the assignments area of D2L, but it has not been published to the grade book. So what you would have is you would have a button here in your course that says evaluate. Mine says publish because I've already walked through this once, but yours would say evaluate, and you would click on that. And over here, you're gonna see the Turnitin score, and under that, you're gonna see a link that says use this score. So you're gonna click on it. So when I click use this score over at the right, when I scroll down, you're gonna notice that it has inserted the 5 out of 10 into my grade item. So the last step is I have to scroll down and I have to click, yours would say publish. You would click publish. Mine says update because I've done it before. But when you click publish or I click update, it's going to transfer that 5 out of 10 into the grade book. So now if I go into grades and I go to enter grades and I go over and I look at that particular item, so that was, let's see, assignment 7, Turnitin, and this is Diane, I'm gonna see that the 5 out of 10 or 50% has already been added to the grade book. So the main thing to remember is it automatically goes into the assignment area of Western Online, but you still have to go to that extra step to go to the evaluation area and then publish that score to the grade book. So the next thing that I want to show you is what this is going to look like to the student when they come in to see what they got on their paper. So what I'm doing right now, you're not actually going to do. You actually aren't able to, but I'm going to go in and impersonate this student so you can see what she sees. So now I'm in here as Diane. So there are a couple ways that I can go in here. I can go in and just look at my grades, or I could go into the assessments area and look at the assignment. So right now I'm going to go in and just look at grades. So if I go in here to look at the grades, I'll scroll down to find it. There it is. Assignment 7, Turnitin. And now I see where it says view inline feedback. So when I click on view inline feedback, that's going to take me into that feedback studio. So I can actually go through my paper and I can look at the different marks that my instructor made on my paper. And it looks like my rubric. Oh, there's my rubric. If I click on view rubric, that will bring up my rubric so I can see how my instructor rated me on the rubric. So that's how they can go in and see that. Additionally, the student could come up over here where it says assessments and go to assignments, and then they could go down and click view a feedback and then view inline feedback again. And that would take them into the same place where they can go in and see the feedback for the paper. And that is basically everything. They can also, the student can also download a copy of their paper.